Welcome back, it's Reed from Emerald Lotus. Today we're going to be talking about my favorite decks of 2022. Let's get into it. All of the decks we're going to be talking about today will be linked below if you want to check them out. Let's start out with one of my favorite classic decks that have been reworked in 2022. So this one is by the Pulp Girls, which they have an amazing Instagram account and I'm absolutely in love with their artwork. Honestly, this is one of my favorite kind of RWS inspired decks that came out this year that I've had the chance of working with. It is all female presenting people on the deck and it is very, very close to the traditional Rider-Waite, but it's kind of been reworked into this kind of pulpy comic sort of illustration, and it's very fun, very beautiful. It reads quite well, honestly very similar to the traditional Rider-Waite. It'd be a great deck for beginners who just kind of want something similar to Rider-Waite, nothing too different, but also kind of want to branch out. Some downsides of the deck are that there's not that much detail in the artwork, so it's not exactly what I would consider like one of the most intuitive decks that I own. But if you're just looking for something that's kind of an improvement on the basic Rider-Waite, or you really love their artwork, you want something all femme, this is definitely a great choice, and it's so fun. I love it. So the Pulp Girls gets the vote for the deck that is the most like the traditional Rider-Waite, but a little bit amped up. Next up is my personal favorite deck to read with when I'm sad or going through it, and it is the Kawaii Tarot deck. This deck is just one of my favorite when I'm feeling low because it is so fun and precious. It would be a great deck for children or someone that really likes cutesy kind of things, which I definitely do. Very gentle, but it honestly reads really, really well. The accuracy that I've had with this deck has been really awesome. I love the symbolism in the deck. It's very fun and it has a really great twist on the Rider-Waite. It follows the system, but it is quite unique. And the animals in the artwork is just so fun that honestly, if you're going through it like depression or feeling anxious or sad, this is just a nice deck because every single card is happy. Even the sad cards or the scary cards are quite fun. Like here we have the Seven of Swords. It makes everything a little bit easier if you're going through a hard time. But as you can see, it's still very readable. I mean, Ten of Swords, we still get the rain in the back. They're still storming. The animals look a little bit concerned, none of them look too happy, so you can still really pick up on intuitive messages from the deck, but it's very fun and just lighthearted, and the detail is very interesting. No two cards look the same. It is honestly a very, very standout deck. It wasn't released in 2022, but it's been my favorite go-to deck for just when I need something gentle and I want to feel happy. So the award for the best deck when you are going through it emotionally, when your mental health just can't take it anymore, is the Kawaii Tarot. Next up is the tarot deck that I like to read with most intuitively is the Mermaid Tarot. A big plus about this deck as well is that the guidebook is the size of a real book. It is huge, and the stories in the guidebook actually kind of venture a little bit away from the traditional Rider-Waite, breathing new life into the Rider-Waite system and telling a different story in a sense that feels very new and fun. And I feel like intuitively the cards really speak to me, and the guidebook itself is also very fun and unique if you're looking for something to kind of spice up your tarot while not being too crazy. The Mermaid Tarot is one of the few decks in my collection where I find that the minor arcana actually is better than the major arcana, which is a really great thing for someone who is beginning, especially if you kind of have a handle on the major arcana and the minor feel a little bit more confusing to you. Or you've only read with majors and now you want to incorporate minors. This is a really great one for the minor arcana. I just feel like the cards really send clear, strong messages. There's so much symbolism in here that it's almost impossible not to have your intuition pick up on different aspects of the cards. I also find that all of my readings with this deck are always so accurate, great for predictive, and also great for understanding current situations. It feels so otherworldly with the mermaid, but in a sense, it's still very understandable and relatable to real life. This might be my favorite deck of 2022, to be honest. I've just loved it ever since I got it. I love working with it. Whenever I have genuine, serious questions this year, I find myself grabbing this deck. And I love that the swords are actually represented by ice and snow. It really gives a great sense of the energy of the cards in a way that almost feels like it's telling a story. It feels almost theatrical, like a movie. This is one of my favorite minor arcana cards in the deck. So we have the Two of Pentacles balancing, but it even gives a little bit more than just the balancing of the Two of Pentacles. It shows like trying to impress other people. It shows trying to do everything while considering how you're coming across, which is an underrated element of the Two of Pentacles card. that I think it doesn't always come through in depictions. So I just love this deck. I can't say enough good things about it. So the Mermaid Tarot gets the award for my favorite deck to work with intuitively. And if you're not into mermaids or you don't feel called by that artwork, the Edgar Allan Poe Tarot from the same publisher, it's a really similar vibe. It's a really similar guidebook size with all of the detail, but it is more focused on Poe. And it feels a little bit more like masculine and grounded in reality versus the kind of mermaid vibe. I love this deck. My husband loves this deck. It's one of his favorites right now too. So this one gets an honorable mention. Really great one for intuition. I just love the back of these cards so much. Similar to the Mermaid Tarot, this one really tells a story as well, which makes it really great for intuitive messages. But like I said, it's a little bit more grounded in reality versus the Mermaid Tarot. If you're a fan of Edgar Allan Poe, you need this deck. You would love it. But even as someone like myself that's not necessarily a fan of his work, not that I dislike it, but I'm not like a huge Poe fan, I still really love this deck and I find it really interesting to read with. And I do find myself picking it up quite often, especially when I want a bit of a shift or when I really want to pick things up intuitively. I feel like this is another really great one to have in the collection. And like I said, if mermaids aren't your thing, but this is more your style, very kind of similar with, as it tells a story and with the intuitive messages that can come. It's a little bit darker though, just because of the Poe themes. So it is quite kind of creepy and dark, but it is also very interesting to read with intuitively. So this one gets an honorable mention. Honorable mention to the Poe Tarot. You know, when you have a deck and you love the artwork so much, but you just have a hard time reading with the deck, it's just not for you, even though you want it to be for you so badly. That's what this next award goes to. It's the most beautiful, but the one that you just can't read with. That goes to Dreamy Moons Tarot. Gorgeous indie deck. I love the artwork so much. Don't find myself reading with it that often unless it's just to do a one card pull. The artwork is absolutely stunning. It has this like gold foil on it. I could see how this would be a really amazing deck for someone, but for some reason it's not for me. The suits in this deck are crystals, stars, cups, and wands, and honestly that might be what kind of throws me off a little bit. I feel like stars to me is kind of like wands, but they're actually the pentacles, which I guess I just don't really vibe with that personally, but I do think the artwork is amazing. And if that is something that doesn't bother you, or you feel like you really vibe with stars as pentacles and crystals as swords, then this would be a great deck. It's so gorgeous. Like I said, I can't stop saying how beautiful it is. That's not the thing. It is the most beautiful deck that I got this year, but I just don't read with it. The prettiest deck that I don't read with award goes to the Dreamy Moons Tarot. And the award for my favorite throwback deck is the Vanessa Tarot. This is one of my favorite decks. It has such 2000s artwork to it, and I love it. I feel like after like 15, 20 years, however old this deck is, I feel like it's coming back in style in full force, and it reminds me of being a kid. This deck surely is not for everyone, but it is for me. I love the throwback vibe of it. It's from US Games, and I feel like it is such a criminally underrated deck. I love the artwork in it. It is mostly female presenting, but it's just so fun, and it is just so 2000s Y2K. I feel like it's not for everyone, but for the people that it's for, it's a great deck. It also reads shockingly well for being kind of like a niche deck like this. I always have amazing readings with it, and I love to use it. I actually use it so much more than I ever thought I would, and I feel like it deserves way more hype. I don't think I've ever seen anyone use this deck online. I'm sure people do, but I just haven't seen it. So definitely one of my favorites. Vanessa Tarot gets the award for my favorite throwback deck of the year. My favorite Oracle deck of the year, actually, shockingly, I just got it within the last month or so. It is a Hay House deck, and it is called the Animal Apothecary. It reads so well. Like, the card's amazing. The artwork is so cool, and I find that there's so much symbolism in these cards that I get amazing readings every single time. I'm honestly shocked that it's from Hay House. No offense, but I find they usually have a little bit more like bubbly decks. I think they're kind of changing that, but historically they kind of did. But this one has so much symbolism in it, and I just find that every single reading I've had with this one has been amazing, whether it be predictive or understanding my current situation. My husband has used this deck as well. He's had amazing readings with it. It is just like so underrated. It's such an amazing deck, and the fact that Hay House often has it on sale too. They do sales a lot on their website. So if you do want to check out this one, wait for a sale. It'll go on sale, I'm sure, in the next little while. But it's totally a great deck. I'm shocked by how much I love it and how much I resonate with it. And I'm curious to see if there's going to be another deck that can take this place in 2023, because I don't like any other Oracle deck that I own as much as I like this one right now. I just feel like it is so accurate. The artwork is so fun. It's just like my favorite vibe. I love it so much. I don't have anything bad to say about this deck. The award for my favorite Oracle deck of the year goes to Animal Apothecary. And the award for the best Astrology deck of the year goes to the Numinous Astro deck. Cassie actually sent me this one and I have loved it. I loved it ever since she sent it to me. I use it so often. Whenever I want an astrology reading, this is the one I go for. Also a few years old, but it definitely gets the best astrology deck in my opinion. I don't use the guidebook at all, but I really should check it out more. It is a complete guidebook that goes into more detail than just the cards. I should use the guidebook more. I never think to look at it, but it's a nice big guidebook. But I just love this deck for doing astrology readings, predictive readings specifically, or readings about people. I find it so helpful. I love that it has the keywords at the bottom, would make it amazing for a beginner astrologer or someone that wants to get more into it. It's just like the best deck to learn about astrology. It has really great symbolism in the center as well, so you can also use your intuitive abilities with this deck, but then you also get the sense of learning about what the different aspects in astrology mean. It's amazing. It's so fun to use just for readings about the self, predictive readings, and readings about other people as well. It adds such an interesting layer to the readings, and like I said, it's also really fun intuitively as well. And although it is not new, it is the best astrology deck that I used in 2022. Best astrology deck in 2022 goes to the Numinous Astro deck. And there we have it. Those are my opinions for my favorite decks of 2022. Let me know what your favorite decks were for the 2022 season. What decks are on your wish list? Let me know that as well. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.